Welcome back to another Photoshop tutorial with PSD box. My name is Andre and today I will show you how to make this manipulation that you see here. And again, I used only two stock images for this, the background image and the woman stock, and you can see that I already have the extracted version of that. I get most of my stock images from DeviantArt, so you can download these images. You have the links on the website. These are free stock images, but make sure you credit the authors when you publish your artworks on your website or on your blog or wherever you post them. So let's get started. And as usually, I'll start over again. So I'll start with the background image, and once you cut the woman from the background, just copy it on over your background, and I will name this layer to woman, and I'll turn it into a smart object. It's not necessary, but I always do that. And now just scale it down. And I scaled it to about where you can see this branches here, so something like that. Place it here and press enter to accept the change. And then I used the crop tool because I wanted to change the aspect ratio of this, because I wanted to crop the image. Just placing the woman here in the middle doesn't look really nice, so I cropped the image like that, and right to about here. And you can see this branch here, and also to about here. I still wanted to have this light here, and from the top to about this where this tree top here, and then right click and choose crop. And this is my image. So once you have the image cropped, you start making adjustments to this. There are a lot of adjustment layers that I used on this image, and I'll start with the background. The first thing that I added is a photo filter, and I chose the warming filter LBA, set it at 65%, then set the blend mode to darken, and the opacity at 100%. The next adjustment layer is a color fill, or solid color, and set the color value for this is click OK, and set the blend mode to overlay and the opacity to 30%. And that's all with the background. Then you can move on and make adjustments to the woman. The first thing that I did is I reduced the saturation. So I used the hue saturation as a clipping mask and set saturation to -25, and then I used levels again as a clipping mask, and the value for this are 2 for the shadows, 0.76 for the midtones, and 240 for the highlights. The next thing that I did is fix the hair. Here, as you can see, it's when I cut this part here, so you can fix that with the smudge tool or with the brush tool. So create a new layer, name it hair or something like that, get the smudge tool, set the brush size to about 1 pixel is usually the best value, set hardness to 100%, set the strength between 80 and 95%, and you can leave the mode to normal if you want to, and make sure you check sample all layers, and just start smudging and create a few recreate the hair basically. And if you want larger strands of hair, just increase the strength and just paint like that, and just bring back the hair that you cut. Make sure you don't click, for example, here, because you will create a dark line. So grab from here and smudge down. And if it's not looking good, just get the brush tool, sample a color, and paint with the brush tool. That's how I made the hair. I'm not going to spend too much time here, just wanted to show you how I did that. On the text tutorial you can see the result that I got from that, but let's move on. The next thing that I did is add another adjustment layer, and I used a photo filter, and this time not as a clipping mask because I wanted to affect the whole image. And I set the density to 55%, and the color that I used for this is this one. An orange color will do. Set the blend mode to normal and leave the opacity to 100%. Then add another fill layer, in this case a solid color, and the color that I used for this one is 2938C3, and click OK. Set the blend mode to soft white and leave the opacity at 100%. And then I just started using the dodging and burning tool. So again, I used my action to create a dodging and burning layer. I have lots of tutorials about this. So the dodging and burning is just basically to change the contrast, the shadows and highlights and stuff like that, and I like the effect that you get with it. So I set the exposure to about 8 or 9%, and I'll start with the dodge tool, set the range to midtones, and I'll check protect tones, but I don't think it's affecting us too much because we're painting on a 50% gray layer, and just started to dodge the highlights a bit. You can actually reshape the face with this tool. You'll see the before and after, and you can make the lips stand out a bit more, also the tip of the nose. You can brighten the eyes, just use a higher exposure. I'm not going to go over the entire process because I spent like 20 minutes just on the dodging and burning alone, so I'm just showing some of the areas where I dodged and burned. Here on the eyes, also on the hair, and here on the clothes as well. On darker areas like this you have to use a higher exposure. But if you check the screenshots on the text tutorial, you will see better where I used this tool. And then with a quite high exposure I painted here the edge of the tree, this branch here, and I usually block this layer so that I cannot move it, because sometimes when I use the move tool I tend to click and move the layer, so I will block the movement, so to say. So right now I'm just using the dodge tool. The exposure is too high. So as you can see, I'm adjusting the exposure and the brush size. And go over highlights and things that I want to brighten. I didn't use the burn tool in this artwork because it's already dark in here, so I don't think I used that. I don't remember, but so that's how I use the dodge tool. I also dodged here the edges with a smaller brush. So that's how I use the dodging and burning. Just go over all the details that you want, and this is the result before and after. I could have dodged the face a bit more here, the eyes, but anyways. Right now the image is really not looking too nice now, but we will fix that. The next thing that I did is create a new layer, which I think I named light or color lights or something like that. Get a soft brush, increase the size, and set the blend mode of this layer to soft light. And what I wanted to do here is make this light stand out a bit more in some of the colors here, and set the opacity of the brush to about 50% and get an orange color for the lights. Let's see if this one works. I need a bit brighter, and increase the brush size and just paint a few lights here. Like that, and here on the floor, and also up here. Not too much, something like that. And then you can also paint a few with green, this part here. See, it kind of comes to life. And also this part here. Okay, something like that. So let's see before and after. Before and after, so it looks a bit better. Once I had these colors here, I added 2 more fill layers and solid color. For the first one I used the color code set this on overlay at 50%, and then I added another solid color, this time a blue one, and I set this to color at 100%, and you can see that now the image is blue rather than this. And then I used this layer mask to hide some of the effect, to remove some of this effect here. So get a soft brush, get the black color, and adjust the brush opacity, and just remove color from here. Just make it a bit bigger, like that, and make sure you remove some of the effect here from the face as well. Something like that. And this is the before and after. Once you get here, you can start making the rain. So create a new layer, and you can name this rain. And for that I used some brushes that I found on DeviantArt, but you can use your own brushes. So I'll go to replace brushes, and I use this set here by Never PH Stock. I'll give you the link on the text tutorial and on the video description as well. You have the link to this, so click load. So you can use any of the brushes here. I used the first one, but you cannot paint with it just like that, so you have to go here to the brush settings and increase the spacing to 100%. And now you can start painting just like that. And now You can add some motion blur if you want to. I'll leave it like that right now and set this to soft light and duplicate the layer because I want a stronger effect. And I got the rain. Of course you can flip it if you want to. And the reason why I flipped it is because you can see the woman is looking that way and she's facing that way, so just to keep a sense of motion. But that's the only reason why I did that. And of course you have to be more careful because you can see I left some space here. I just wanted to show you how I added the rain, but you have to be more careful with that. And after that I made the splash of the rain here on the umbrella, and for that I used the default brushes, so reset brushes, and use one of the brushes here, these ones or these two ones here, create a new layer, and actually have to put this under the woman, this layer, or you can use a layer mask, but it's easier just to drag it below the woman layer. Set this to soft light or overlay and just start painting like that. You can change brushes if you want to. I think overlay looks better. And that's how I made the splashes there. And then another thing that I did is some water falling from the umbrella. And I painted that on another layer, and I used a solid brush, a small one. Set the opacity really low, and I did this with the tablet, so right now I'm doing it with the mouse. I don't know if I can do it. I'll try and just paint some. Set this to normal and increase the brush size just a bit, the flow, sorry, and make it really small, and just painted some water falling from the umbrella. If you're not too good at painting right now, I'm just doing a horrible job here, but just make some droplets falling. I'll show you the original. This is what I did on the original. See that falling water there and there, and I did that with the brush tool. Right now I'm just doing it really fast and it doesn't really look nice, but you can use a stock image for that, or simply just skip the step if you're not good at painting. You can add this splashes here also, here on this small bridge here if you want to, but I didn't do it. And once you get here, you can make a stamp, or you can create a stamp if you press the Shift, Control, Alt and E. Or another way of doing that is select the entire canvas and go to Edit, Copy, Merge, and then paste the image, and there you have it. And I usually name this Final Stamp, and this is where I add filters to give the final effects, and I usually convert this into a smart object. And as usual, I added lighting effects and some lens correction. So first go to Render, Lighting Effects, and play with this filter. Make it bigger. I don't remember the settings, but On the article you have all the settings, but maybe they won't work for your image because it depends on the contrast that you have and all that. Let's set this to 14 and click OK. So you can see the image is a bit brighter now, especially here on the center, but I want more contrast, so I will increase the material, set it to metallic, and maybe make it a bit smaller, and set the exposure to 3 and click OK. So that's a before and after. And then another filter that I added to this is lens correction, and I usually do that because I want to add vignetting here on the corners, and you'll see that. So you go to the custom tab on the vignette, set the amount to whatever you like, and change the midpoint, increase the amount, and set the midpoint to about here, and click OK. So these settings are just depends on what you like. And after that I added 2 more adjustment layers. A color balance. I almost always use a color balance on the final adjustments because with this you can shift the colors however you want. And in this case I didn't touch the shadows, just the midtones, and I set everything to 20. And for the highlights I set -10, 6, and -12. And then I added a vibrance adjustment layer, and I set the vibrance to 29 and the saturation to 6. And these are my final adjustments. Of course you can make the shadow of the woman here if you want to. You can paint it with the brush tool, but well, that's how I got this. I'll show you before and after so you can see the final version, so before the adjustments and with the adjustments. So you can see it's a pretty significant change. That's why I always make this stamp and add those filters, especially the lighting effects filter, and then these 2 adjustment layers. So I hope you liked the tutorial. Remember that you can submit your results to my Flickr group or to my DeviantArt group. And well, that's it for now. See you on the next tutorial.